Are you passionate about your community and getting involved? Well, stick around because we're going to talk to someone who uses her passion for community as a business. So don't go anywhere. Hi, welcome to Small Business Saturday Shout Out. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and on today's show is Miss Stephanie van Vark. But before we get to her and all the amazing things that she's up to, I want to welcome you. Welcome to the show today. I'm so glad that you're watching us. Please feel free to leave comments, to ask questions, because you know what? On Small Business Saturday Shout Out, you have 3 opportunities if you have a business to get a shout out. And I already said which one, how one is, and that is if you leave a comment with your name and your business name, a short, um, probably a couple words, a short phrase of what you do and how people can reach you. Guess what? I'm going to do. I'm going to shout you out live on the show. A second way you can get a shout out is to send us a 30-second commercial, and we'll play your 30-second commercial for you during the show. And then the third way that you can get a shout out is to be a guest. You can just go to support@aliciacouri.com and say, I want to be a guest. Raise your hand to be a guest. You can DM me if you're connected to me anywhere on social media and say, I want to be a guest on your show. And you can even do that in our group. So if you are on Facebook, we do have a Facebook group, and our Facebook group, let me share that with you. It's facebook.com/groups/SBSSO. So if you have a business and you want to promote things, it's the season for promoting. So you can go into, become a member of that group. You can promote what you have going on. And then you can also, send a message and say, I want to be a guest on the show. So please go ahead and join us on our Facebook group. It's facebook.com/group/SBSSO. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, I really encourage you to subscribe. We have a lot of content over there. We have various shows that inspire you, that also help grow your mindset, teach you about other businesses. There's so much content over at youtube.com/c/Alicia Couri. So I encourage you to go over there. And while there, you can hit that subscribe button because we're always dropping new content there. So you can support that and you can also benefit from it. Now, I did mention the 3 ways to get a shout out, and please go ahead and leave us comments whenever you can. We love, even after the show, if you're watching this on replay, you can go ahead and leave comments on the show. We are here the first and third Saturdays of the month on Small Business Saturday Shout Out. So you can go ahead and tune in to us then. And also more content, like I said, on that channel on YouTube. We have our podcast, which just came back. It's called Leading with Audacious Confidence. So if you are a leader and you want to know how to up-level your confidence, please check that out. I interview coaches, I interview CEOs, I interview people who interact and impact leaders every single day. So there's a lot of amazing information that you can get listening to that podcast. So I encourage you to go ahead. Every Wednesday, we drop a new episode. So go to either our YouTube channel or you can go to aliciacouri.com/podcast to find out more. All right. So before we get started, I wanted to share a couple words from our sponsor. The Greater Miami Visitors and Convention Bureau encourages you to plan your trip now. It's not just the ocean breeze that's inspiring, it's the diversity of cultures found in Greater Miami and Miami Beach. So visit www.miamiandmiamibeach.com to find out more. We also have our FAMU Mary is sponsoring the show, and FAMU Mary, if you want to know about the legal and lawful use of medical marijuana, please go to mary.famu.edu to find out more. That's famu.edu, FAMU, sorry, mmeri.famu.edu. So we'll hear a little bit more about them later on in the show. So I am super excited to bring up my first guest, but let's see, we got a shout out. Lucille. Hi, Lou. How are you? So great to be here. She's Lou from whyworryworld.com. Here to have they help people worry less and enjoy life more. So check out whyworryworld.com and connect with Lou. Yay! Thank you, Lou, for that. So we are getting ready to bring our guest on deck. So stick around. Welcome back to Small Business Saturday Shoutout. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and today on the show is Stephanie van Vark, the founder of Stephanie Creates. She creates media, podcasts, events, and communications that spread homegrown, culturally rich anecdotes to the masses. Stephanie has a passion for community informed by her upbringing. She's a small town girl with big ideas. Her life's work is to create and capture the theater of real life in a way that serves people and communities. She's also the co-chair of the marketing committee of the Black-Owned Media Alliance, or BOMA. So welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to have a conversation with you. It's so different being on the other side.
I know. So just as a side, Stephanie co-chairs the marketing committee with moi. so,
Exactly.
so I
So
know,
that.
yeah, I know a little bit about Stephanie over here.
A little bit,
Uh,
little bit, little bit.
but I want to go back. I want you to share with us, what is your passion for community? Because I said, it's a homegrown passion that you've had for supporting your community.
So as I mentioned, I am from a small town in Georgia, and small town community is the backbone that helps those kind of communities thrive. So when I moved to Miami, I landed in a neighborhood that's considered a challenge community, and that sort of became my mantra. So I had to quickly figure out how I could serve this organization in a way that would really be, or this community in a way that would be impactful and to
Mm,
do what I do in that way. And since I have a background in production, I have a background in marketing, I felt like it was a good way for me to help brand a community, help brand a culture, help brand a history, a place filled with history
yes.
in a way that had not been done in a long time. So that was my passion and my dream.
And what is the community, just so that people know where your focus is?
Historic Overtown. I will be expanding that though. I will be expanding that. But Historic Overtown was recognized as the I guess it was the Harlem of the South. It was known to be a place with a great deal of entertainment. It's kind of the
Very
Broadway of the South
culturally
as
rich.
well.
Mhm.
Culture enriched,
Food. Oh,
primarily African American community. Actually was an African American community, and unfortunately, around the '60s, late '50s, early '60s, I-95 came through and just kind of get
it
it right.
came right between, yeah, right, and broke it up.
Exactly. Exactly. And so really ran out, displaced, I guess, for lack of better way to put it, the economic strength here, the leaders of the community all left. So what it left behind was a, a poverty-stricken community, folks that couldn't get out. Um,
Mm,
and there's a highway now that will let them, a ramp that will let folks right out from, and bring in all kinds of, situations. And it was just a challenge for a while, for many, many moons. It struggled. It's
mhm.
in the process of revitalization now. It's absolutely different from when I moved here many years ago, because we're now growing and building and definitely opening up the doors to more communities. So, it's definitely been an evolution, and we've been involved in doing what we do through all of that. So,
Yeah, it really has revitalized in a
mm,
lot of ways. When you go down there, it's very different. I when I first moved here, I lived not too far from Overtown. I lived
okay,
Northwest Second Avenue.
okay, okay, in the
Uh,
Wynwood area.
yeah,
Okay,
and so even all of that has changed. I don't even recognize it
right,
when I go
right.
downtown Miami. So
But it's
share with us.
interesting, I guess, that the perception still remains sometimes.
Yeah,
So a
that's
lot of
where
times,
we
that's what
have to
like you
change.
and I, the media, have to kind of reshape that and reformulate that in a way that people are now feel like they can come down and spend money in the area.
Yeah, and not be afraid to come down, because
Yeah. Okay.
it's the restaurants, there's
Exactly.
a lot of culturally rich food, with
Hmm.
Caribbean heritage and other it's influenced by a lot of different
Absolutely.
cultures.
Absolutely.
And I mean, the food is
Absolutely.
excellent, the art, the history. It's
Exactly.
really a phenomenal community now. So, and
It
continue
is.
to grow, and is
Mhm.
continuing to grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you have a very rich background in media, as a writer, as a screenwriter, and your husband is also in production
Yes.
and everything. So for you, telling these stories is a part of who you are,
Yes.
and so what inspired you actually to start your show, Just Talking Business? Like,
Oh,
because you're talking about the communities, you're highlighting this, and now you're doing a business show, Just
mhm.
Talking Business. So tell us a little bit about Just Talking Business.
So just having business, when I say community, it's not necessarily a locale. It could be an organization, it could be an industry. It's a unit, I guess, when I think of community. And we're in this ecosystem called a small business ecosystem, where a lot of times we're working in a silo. We don't know what we're doing. We're trying to figure it out. It's 85% small business. So everybody around you is trying to figure it out. But we never hear the struggles or
Yeah.
the innovation that people have to really, do invest in order to survive and then to thrive. Those are things, those pivots we've had to do and change. And so during the pandemic, that really became very important, that small businesses had to figure out fast how to stay alive. And so, I mean, I mean, I think
Yes.
the time
Yes.
you and I met and we were like, oh God, what are we doing? So I was like, well, let me talk to some other people and see what they're doing. And it's been, honestly, a teaching moment for me,
Mhm.
because you sometimes don't know what you don't know until
Yes.
you're given the opportunity to talk to some people who've been through it. So that was kind of the idea and passion behind it.
That's wonderful, because that's kind of why how I started this show too, to talk to business owners, to give them an opportunity to share what their business is, what they're doing, and how they're doing it. Because during the pandemic, like, the small businesses were
Right,
struggling the most, like,
right,
to stay
exactly,
alive.
exactly.
So that's great. And what
But
other
it
shows
was
do you have?
funny to hear some of the things people came up with and how they really utilize platforms like this to really change and evolve as businesses. So it was very fun to watch them. And then we also had a guest on that actually had to close her doors during the pandemic. So
Mm.
that too was, a moment of conversation and thought. So it's just been very interesting.
It's always important to highlight not just the wins, but also
Absolutely.
the losses, and how you're able to pick yourself up from that, and how you're able to, like you were saying, pivot from those things. Because everybody sees your highlight reel on social
Right.
media, right? Everybody is seeing, oh yeah, you're so fabulous and phenomenal. They don't see 2 o'clock in the morning, bawling your eyes out, like,
What am I
oh my god, what am I gonna do?
doing?
I just lost everything. What am I gonna do? And then having to pick yourself up the next day
Mhm,
and figure it
mhm.
out. And
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. And
I
then you start
really
to feel like you're not only in a box by yourself because
trying
we
to
are
figure
working
this
in
out.
silos. So the best thing I know, you and I have called each other like, "What are you doing? And how
Yeah,
are
I
you
know.
doing this?
How are you doing that? What,
Should I do this? Help me."
we need to band together. So as small business owners, we definitely need to band together, and that's why I have that group, Small Business Saturday Shout Out, so that you can go in there and you can connect with other small business owners, and you can find ways to promote yourself, because not everywhere lets you promote what you got.
Right.
Some people shut you down. So as long as it's not, you're not violating anybody else's rights, you can promote what you have as a business. And I let's talk about BOMA for a moment, because as again, small media outlets,
Okay.
as we are part of a, a group that have come together to support each other as well for Black media, because there's a I think a misconception about what is Black owned media and
Mhm.
why do we even exist. Do you
Mhm.
want to address that for a second?
Well, yes, for in my circle, I think there's just, or the folks that I've had sort of these behind the scenes conversation. I think there's just sort of the perception that um, you can put information out on the major outlets and you're going to get it. They're going to get it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, we really are going to have to try to educate and inform folks the importance of having family speak to family, because there's
Hmm.
a level of trust there that a big outlet cannot connect with in the same way. And so there is sort of that, while you have media, everybody can get access to everything. Some cases, some people don't want access to everything. They want access to what they know and what they're familiar with. And it's very important for people to recognize the relevance, just if for no other reason than you will connect on a grassroots level an audience of folks you may not be able to get to if you invest in and really support Black media.
And we're talking about Black owned, not necessarily urban media, not
Correct.
necessarily, uh, because there's a lot of media out there, radio stations, television stations that may have Black programming, but they're not Black owned. And the Black owned media tend to be smaller uh,
Correct.
organizations, smaller operations that are putting out, like you said, content that really speaks to your communities, speak
Mhm.
to you heart to heart, shares your stories, and invite you in. And so it's really important to support those efforts
Mhm.
from us, us that are trying to get the word out. And
And
we're
I
not,
think
we
there's
don't,
also, go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say, we don't just cater to necessarily the Black communities,
That's true.
but we are Black owned, and we are trying to share stories wherever they are out to the masses. So what were you going to share?
And I think there's that perception, which you just hit the nail on the head, that you know, unfortunately, sometimes some of those organizations that aren't Black owned sort of have a very narrow view of our audience base, and
Hmm.
so it comes out in a certain way.
Stereotypical,
It's
right?
very stereotypical, and we're such, we are such a it's
Diverse, rich.
and diverse
Yeah.
within our culture. We come from so many different places and backgrounds and experiences, and like you said, we're not necessarily only speaking to Black people, but in some cases, just trying to find the commonality and the cross spectrum. And I think smaller Black owned media outlets get that and are
Yeah.
able to speak that language a little bit better, because it's not based on stereotype. It's based on, we understand the community.
Yeah. Stephanie, I want to take a quick break, and I want to come back and wrap up with you.
Okay.
So just hold on a second, and we will be right back.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us today. This episode is produced by Red Carpet CEO, a proud member of BOMA, the Black Owned Media Alliance, advocating to close the disparity in advertising for Black-owned media. This show is sponsored by Audacious Concepts, Inc., a boutique consulting firm that provides audacious solutions to those nagging and persistent people problems clogging your revenue pipeline. For more information, visit audaciousconceptsinc.com. Now, here's a word from our other sponsors.
FAMU's Mary educates diverse communities about medical marijuana and the consequences of illegal marijuana use in Florida. Hear advice from leaders in your community. Listen to the podcast, watch the video cast to know all the facts. Follow Mary Forum Radio on social. Take the free basic education course and test your knowledge. Find answers to all of your marijuana questions and visit mary.famu.edu. That's mmeri.famu.edu. And join the conversation. Mary, educate, learn, talk.
It's not just the ocean breeze that's inspiring. It's the diversity of cultures found in Greater Miami and Miami Beach. So plan your trip now. Visit miamiandmiamibeach.com for more information. Thank you so much. So I'm going to bring Stephanie back up, and I just want her to share some of the media outlets, the shows that she has, so that you can participate in that. So welcome back to the show, Stephanie.
Hi, thank you for having me back again.
So share with us, Stephanie Creates, what are the shows that you have to offer?
So we do actually a multitude. We do 2 shows so far, and we also have an outlet that's for the Overtown community. We'll start with that. Goingovertown.org started as a website, community outreach, publishing platform for the community, and has been very successful in engaging a community that wasn't engaged prior to. If you go on that YouTube channel right there, you will see some episodes that stem from that show around COVID. We really had some interesting guests that kind of talked the spectrum around what was happening in the community around COVID and trust and vaccinations and et cetera.
Yeah.
Our second show and one I hope you will tune into is called Just Talking Business. Our wonderful, see, I keep going in the wrong direction. Our wonderful Alicia Couri will be a guest in January. So stay tuned. She was a wealth of information, and I can't talk enough about this show because I'm not kidding when I say it's been it's been a great information source for me. And I think any business owner will learn something from every single human being, because we really try to get into the weeds of why are you doing this and what do you do while you're doing this kind of thing. So please tune in to that and stay tuned. We'll definitely be sending that out. Again, Alicia will be, I keep wanting to do the other way. Alicia,
I know, because we're flipped backwards.
Exactly. That's that StreamYard thing. And then we launched a show called Jigsaw Parenting. It's in the infancy stages. Please check it out. It's a conversation among parents who, just kind of sharing moments of, we have this idea that every parent should parent the same way, but sometimes you can't for a variety of different reasons, some of which is cultural, some of which is economic, whatever that is. And so we sort of have a conversation around, can these, what do you do? And why do you do it? And what is your reason? Is there some rationale behind what's happening? So we're definitely trying to tap into and support, help parents. So we have a couple of teachers that are hosts, so they tell a little bit of information of things that are happening in the schools. So definitely tune in. And we'll be having more coming along the way.
Thank you. And I got another shout out to share. Usually I don't do this during my guest interview, but I'll do it with you. So Tracy, welcome Tracy Noble from Noble Solutions Consulting. We help empower your company your way to reach long-term success. You can find them at NOBI solutions.com. See, vanity. I took my glasses off and now I can't.
That happens to me all the time.
So Tracy, you can find Tracy Noble at NOBI solutions.com. So there we go. Thank you, Tracy, for sharing that with us.
Yeah, I get it.
Stephanie, thank you so much for being a part of the
Welcome.
show today. And, happy holidays as it's the holiday season and things are wrapping up for most people.
Yes.
I look forward to bringing you more content in 2023, more business owners, more. And thank you so much for being on the show, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been fun.
Yay. All right, great. Thanks.
Have a great
Don't
day.
go anywhere. So again, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. We only had one guest with us today. We had a marvelous guest with us, so we went a little bit extra with her. Oh, there we go. I thought so, Tracy. I thought it was noblesolutions.com. I'm like, why did we leave out the L? That's why I had to put my glasses on. I'm like, so it is NOBIL solutions.com. If you want to find out more about consulting from Tracy Noble's company, they help empower your company your way to reach your long-term success. So thank you for correcting that, Tracy. So happy holidays, everyone. I just want to encourage everyone to stay connected, stay tuned. Again, if you have a business, if you want to stay connected with us, if you want to be a guest on the show, a lot of times we send out a post that say, if you want to be a guest, just respond to the post. Just say raise your hand, go to facebook.com/groups/SBSSO, either that or email support@aliciacouri.com for let us know that you want to be a guest on the show. And we have multiple opportunities here on the Red Carpet CEO media platform for you to be a guest. So we have this show if you have a business. We also have on Mondays, we produce a show called Unleash Your Audacious Confidence, which is on Win Win Women TV. It's not on this platform, but it is on winwinwomen.tv. That's on Mondays at 5 p.m. So if you have a business or if you're a woman that has a story that's women focused, that is the show for you to be a guest on. So we're doing call for guests all the time because we have that show. We also have our podcast, Leading with Audacious Confidence. And Leading with Audacious Confidence is every Wednesday. We drop a new podcast episode on Wednesdays, all around leadership, developing your team, being a stronger leader. We talk to CEOs. In fact, the episode that's coming up this Wednesday is a CEO from Boomers, and he talked about what they went through getting through the pandemic as a theme park, amusement parks. The parks were shut down. What do you do? So it was a really fascinating interview with Tim Murphy about what they did to stay alive and to now start thriving with their parks. So getting to hear from the inside, getting to hear from those CEOs, how they pivot, what they do, especially as a small business owner, to understand, okay, we're not alone in this. They have to pivot, and they have to pivot on a larger scale than we do. So let's learn some lessons from them, how they do business, and what are the things that they've learned, and how did they pivot, and how did they think about things, because like Stephanie said earlier, hearing these stories from business owners and other CEOs, you get to understand how to shape your own business and not crumble when things aren't going well. So, get the tools you need. So that podcast is a great source. Stephanie shared her shows, Just Talking Business. You can go there as well to find out more. And then in the new year, we will be coming back with our show, Love My Body, Love Myself. So stay tuned for announcements for that, because that's a great show as well. And I think that's it for us today on this final episode of the year for Small Business Saturday Shout Out. I am looking forward to bringing you more content, more shows, greater things in 2023. So look out for that. And don't forget to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you subscribe to that YouTube channel, you'll get all of it. You'll see what's happening. Let me find it. There it is. Subscribe. It is youtube.com/C/Alicia Couri. I could take this one down. /Alicia Couri. Go check it out. You'll get a lot of great information and insight there on that YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our shows this year. Thank you for supporting us this year. We really appreciate all of you. I want your businesses to grow and succeed and to flourish and to have a great 2023. And don't forget, if you want to be on the show, if you want a shout out, 3 ways to get a shout out. Leave a comment about your business, leave a comment. And I will share that with everyone. Send us a 30-second commercial. You can reach out to us and say you want to send us a 30-second commercial to play during the show, and you'll be one of the sponsors of the show, and you can be a guest. Those are the 3 ways on the show to get a shout out. So take advantage of that. We will be here again next year. We're looking forward to having more of you, sharing more of your businesses, more of your stories on the show, shouting out more people, getting more involved in the Facebook community. And we will see you next time on another episode in 2023 of Small Business Saturday Shout Out. Mwah! Bye, everybody.